Welcome to Fargo Talks Fargo, an unofficial podcast on the FX television series. This season of Fargo Talks Fargo is sponsored by Fargo Brewing and their Wood Chipper IPA. Head to fargobrewing.com to learn more, to find out where to buy beer, where to pick up swag, or to look for a murderer in Fargo. Just kidding, that last part's not true. Hey, so this is Fargo Talks Fargo. Welcome to the first full breakdown of an episode, Season 3, Episode 1. Charpie, how you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. How's it going?
I'm doing better.
You're
doing better than me.
I just got done with 3 days of snowshoeing, which was awesome. I'm dead tired and I'm super sunburnt, but I am still in better condition than you are, Bill. You have pneumonia, I hear.
Yep. Maybe some people noticed last week my voice was starting to sound weirder or more manly than normal, but I'm going to power through. Hopefully we won't have to pause recording for me to cough. Mm-hmm. I'm going to let you drink all the beer for me during this show. I am currently sponsored by Powerade Zero, a 0-calorie sports drink. That is not true. But if Powerade wanted to send me some Powerade, that'd be great. Thanks.
Thank you very much. In the future, thanks to Powerade.
Future thanks. Right.
And PepsiCo.
I can't completely decide where to start. We talked, some people maybe skip the hot dish. Maybe some don't. But I feel like coming back to just, I don't know how far we're going to go down these rabbit holes we get in, but that I rewatched that whole East Berlin thing again, and I kept thinking about so much stuff. I can't help but I'm going to bring up the thing you talked about before we talk completely about it, because I thought it was really interesting that you talked about the Berlin Wall last time and how it was just, as if it was some sort of metaphor about the wall between the two brothers.
Mm-hmm, sure.
Did you have any deeper thought on that yet? I don't know. We literally have not talked before this show since last week. So
that's right. So yeah, we really don't know where this is going to spiral into. So strap in, folks. Maybe we'll take you for a wild ride. Maybe we won't. But I don't know. I don't
such confidence. Such confidence.
It's episode 1, man. We're just getting started here. We're laying the groundwork. We're building the foundation. This first scene, East Berlin, 1988, with Jakob Ugerleiter, or however you want to say it, or the whom they think is Yuri Gurka. I think, when we talked about the wall between the two, maybe this being a metaphor. The wall being a metaphor for the rift between the two brothers. Maybe, I don't know, but there's also more things that it might allude to, because there are mistaken addresses. I mean, that's a big one, right? Because later on...
Mistaken identities,
mistaken addresses. Obviously, this man has either he just moved into a killer's home or something, and this mistaken identity and... or address mix-up is really throwing everything off. That could just be, foreshadowing or something just parallel to the whole Maurice incident.
Right.
We don't know how this is going to play into things, but at least it still was like a nice tone for the entire show.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm going to skip a little bit around, and too, if you think back to just the part where... Emmett, I'm going to screw up names a lot this episode. Emmett talking about his wife and how they even lived in the same place, same address, same apartment. There's lots of that, but of course, the first thing I want to bring up is that I'm currently feeling a lot of Lebowski right now.
Oh, you are? How so?
Just the mistaken identity, like
I guess
coming into the house to get the wrong rug, and then it really ties the room together. And I feel like this stamp is really going to tie the season together. At least it's this focal point that is set off this entire journey of what's happening to one person is all because of one thing, and it's this thing that's on a wall in one room, and so I'm going to be very, very curious to see.
I think we say that literally every season.
That's because I love the Big Lebowski.
Or maybe the show is just following the exact same model. We don't know.
Well, if you don't like the Big Lebowski, you're not going to like some stuff I got to say today.
Who doesn't like the Big Lebowski? Come on.
But yeah, I think this is going to be one of those like, hey, when is Noah Hawley and the rest of the crew going to tip their hat back to this moment, right?
Sure, of course.
I don't think it's going to come fast. And unless, did you have something else you were going to say about that? I'm sorry, I kind of burst in where there were before. So I came in here and pissed all over your rug.
Yes, you certainly did pee on my rug. No, just that I just wanted to mention that, this guy's being interrogated by the state, and it all comes down to his address and his name, and his wife having somewhat similar name to this woman that's been killed supposedly by Yuri Gurka, who's the state is claiming this Jacob guy is. That was really it. That's the base. That's the outline of that little scene. But just the whole mistaken either address or identity thing was, I don't know, just a nice.
Well, it's all of that, and even a mistake, and with that there was two names that were the same. The Stussy name, and then the other thing, Helga was the girlfriend and the wife's name. So it's like all of this kind of wrapped up in this one spiel for me. So I'm just going to go with that. About that, we'll get back to all this. I'm sure.
Yeah, but you kind of had a
go ahead.
You would have had a good segue, but then we went back and we met. So now we're back in Minnesota. We're in Minnesota in 2010. We're at Emmett and Stella Stussy's 25th wedding anniversary, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're learning about a little bit of that, whole living in the same apartment thing. We learned that Emmett Stussy used to work for Red Robin and seems to have somewhat of a bird fetish.
Didn't you actually notice that there's a kind of a bird fetish going on all over the place? Not just in the house, in a lot of these things. So I don't know what they think. This is me giving my Midwestern take. There's some other places. I didn't write them down this week, but I'll come back to it if we want. But yeah, there's a lot of birds.
A lot of birds.
Eagles, birds, all sorts of things. Cue the I'll Fly Away music. Do you have any deep theories on that just yet, or is it too early?
Not yet. Way too early.
We're just making notes.
Yeah. So we learned that Emmett Stussy maybe might not be in such as good a shape as his brother might think, because he's doing some business with he doesn't know who, actually, through a broker named Rick Ehrmantraut. We'll later meet. Go ahead.
The Ehrmantraut thing just totally, it's all Breaking Bad for me. I just can't help but think about Mike Ehrmantraut. Plus, I'm watching Better Call Saul.
Ehrmantraut's a pretty popular, or not popular, but common last name in the area, so it does make sense.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll let that slide. What?
Stussy?
You don't think so?
Nah, not particularly.
Ehrmantraut? You don't know any Ehrmantrauts?
I don't know. I know zero Ehrmantrauts.
What?
I don't know any Stussies, Burgles, Swangos, Varga, Feltz, LaFay. I know a lot of Olsons and Thompsons.
Oh, there's a lot of Ehrmantrauts. You got to get a little west of Fargo. Get into that Lisbon, Wilmer, Oaks area.
Oh, wow. What? Speaking of birds, spread your wings and fly, little Charpie. You are just such a world traveler now. Lisbon, all the way to Lisbon. My
Aberdeen.
God. Get a map out.
Get out there, man.
Get a map
Explore.
out. Oh, jeez. Okay, fine. I'll go with it.
Have you ever left Fargo?
No. Why do you think I'm still here? Plus my parole officer. So it's that whole deal.
All right. So
anyway, I'm sorry.
You had a good call. I think it was in the hot dish, or maybe when we were just chatting. The framed stamp that's in Emmett's, I don't know what you'd call it, a study. There's
like his office/study.
Yeah, there's one framed stamp in there, and the stamp is just, it's a symbol of, where his wealth came from his father dying, basically. His and Ray's father dying, and as we know from the show, Emmett is Ray's older brother, and it seems like through Ray's vantage point, Emmett took advantage of his younger brother and gave his younger brother a fancy Corvette, while Emmett took the stamp collection from his father after his death, and turns out those stamps were probably worth a shitload of money. We don't know yet.
Yeah,
but you pointed out that the 2-cent stamp is a drawing that alludes to the myth of Sisyphus, which we delved into in season 2.
We've been down that road.
Yeah,
with Fat Damon. Sorry, I just made you choke on your drink. We're not cutting that out. We don't cut anything out. Yeah, Bud's Meats. No, the one thing I thought was interesting right now is that, too, if you go back to the film at the very end, Marge's husband, whose name escapes me, Marge Gunderson, right? Was that her name? Marge Gunderson? Yeah, Marge. I just know her name's Marge.
Yeah,
sorry.
I think it's Gunderson.
Somebody, her husband, he got on the stamp it was probably the 3-cent stamp is what I think they mentioned. So the 2-cent stamp ain't too bad for Sisyphus in the Coen brothers Noah Hawley world of his interpreting. Maybe that's why there's all the birds all over.
So let's back it up and kind of reset the stage. We're sitting here at Emmett and his wife Stella's 25th anniversary soiree, and Ray only seems to get 5 minutes with his own brother via Emmett's assistant Cy, who's played by Michael Stahlbarg, who was in A Serious Man. Couple of A Serious Man references in this episode. One being, not really a reference, but a shared actor, that guy. But another being possibly the Red Owl, which we can get into a little bit later. So can you help me understand something? So they're sitting in this study. It's Cy, it's Emmett, and Ray. And they're talking a little bit about Grace and Dennis. Is Grace Emmett's daughter?
I had the same moment because the first time I watched this, I was like, I thought they were talking about something completely different.
Right, me too.
So I'm like completely not sure now.
So Emmett,
I'm like, who is that?
Emmett's giving his little speech to all the party goers before this scene in the study, and he's saying, and at the end of it, he says, "And now we have Grace and Dennis."
Okay, wait. So it must be his daughter, because why else would the business partner come if it wasn't his daughter? It wouldn't be like for a niece. So I'm guessing. I like the idea that they're like, can you imagine no shoes?
Right. And Ray didn't know who Dennis was, so that kind of made me think, it wasn't like their kids or anything. So, not that their kids would be getting married in Cabo. But so Grace and Dennis had sort of an impromptu, not really impromptu, but maybe sort of like not quite an elope, but a very quick wedding in Cabo, where Emmett and the business partner, Cy, attended, and they had some business dealings with some international business folk while at the wedding. So maybe we'll get into that a little bit later. We don't know.
Yeah, but the thing about that too is I felt like that was the story was just another like, hey, look at how we're excluding you. Like, I know you didn't get invited, but he did. Cy got invited.
Yes, I was there.
Here's where I'm going to make another kind of Big Lebowski comment. If you go look at Cy's haircut, right? He's kind of got like this pseudo flat top, like Walter, but it's not really completely there. If you think about Walter's like flat top, shut up and listen to me, you big.
Seems like a stretch to me.
It's going to be a stretch, but there's more to it. So Look at him. He's got like this weird, Cy has this weird flat top like Walter, but then it's kind of like shaggy-ish on the sides or whatever and like Donny-ish. And start listening to the way, rewatch that whole scene and listen. He literally has this, not literally, he actually sounds, sometimes he says things that sound very Donny-ish, because the way he says them, he like echoes things
he totally
Emmett
does that.
says, and then you just keep waiting for someone to say, shut the fuck up, Donny. But then there are other times where he interjects like this really interesting, like Walter stupid like facts that Walter just likes to blow out of his ass. And so it's almost like he's playing both sidekicks.
That's okay. I like that. He does do that weird sidekick echoing thing, but that's like a sidekick thing too. When Emmett's talking about having all this money on the books and he says we can't have that, and then Cy immediately can't have that.
He says can't have that. Yeah, you tell them what we're gonna do, boss. Yeah, we're gonna do that.
Well,
just let me have this. But still, go back and look at it. Go back and look at the haircut. It's like it's a kind of flat top, but not.
All right. I'll check it out.
I'm just saying, it's not real. I need it. I need this. I need to heal.
So we kind of end that scene with Ray asking his brother, "Are you going to do what's right here, or are you going to do what's right?" Which I really liked.
Which is also him echoing himself because he has no sidekick.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, are you gonna do what's right here?
You gonna do what's right? You gonna do it?
You gonna do what's right?
Huh? Yeah.
He just starts talking through the sides of his mouth.
Yeah.
So
where do you want to go from here?
I want to get the hell out of this house in a red Corvette.
I like where she, when they're leaving, and she like completely asserts, like she looks low class, but she feels she looks trashy, but she feels high classy. Nikki does. Like when he wants to leave, and she does the door thing and makes him come back around, and he's like, "Oh, geez," and it's I'm realizing that that she's, for whatever it is that these two have this beautiful bond they have
simpatico
together. Yeah, with Bridge is I think he'd walk on broken glass for her, and he's because twice in this episode she calls him the dummy. Which I know is a Bridge term now, because I'm going to learn way more about flipping Bridge.
Yeah, you are.
I think we both want to know.
We already do know more.
But yeah, so I just think that's a big thing.
She definitely loves playing the higher status role, even though that he is technically, the
person in power,
her superior. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right word. I mean, he's definitely
person in power.
Yeah, person in power.
Yeah,
because
but like on paper he's supposed to be better,
right? So we peel out of that house in a very, very, very Minnesota-looking establishment as they're driving away, and crazy on you is blasting by heart, and they're just rolling around talking about how they're going to make their riches playing bridge.
Where were they going?
Well,
do you know what I mean?
They must have just went home.
Well, this is my honest thing. I don't know what town they're in or what they're doing, but it's 2010. I know what Eden Prairie looks like. I've been there. My brother lived there. I don't know if people realize that, at least currently, and this is the part we're supposed to be. I always claim that we're just giving you the inside scoop. Eden Prairie is not that. Eden Prairie is chock full of really rich houses, yes, but it's definitely, you're not going to have snow-laden fields and rolling trees. It is no stranger to complete and total urban sprawl.
That's true. But it does look like a Minnesota. It does look like a Minnesota property if you just get like about an hour away.
Oh yeah, I mean, you hit the Inver Grove Heights up, and you're all about that.
All right, so we get into the Red Owl, and we meet the lovely Gloria Burgle, her son, and her stepfather. And her stepfather, Ennis, seems like he manages a Red Owl, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You're old balls. Do you remember Red Owl in Fargo?
Yes, I do. There was also a Red Owl in my parents' hometown. So I have shopped at a Red Owl.
That is awesome. You've actually shopped at one.
Yeah.
Nice.
Heck yeah. Oh yeah, sure.
I barely remember it. I remember I was in daycare when I was really little, and I remember the grocery bags coming in with the big Red Owl logo on them.
Oh yeah,
for a brief time, and then I think they were snatched up by like Super Value or something, and probably became Hornbachers or something.
No, Hornbachers was never. Oh wow, we're getting really okay. Deep catalog Fargo. Hornbachers is the locally owned chain here, grocery store chain here in Fargo that. Crazy enough has a connection to the TV show Mad Men. But anyway, the Red Owl, I wonder when that closed. That's crazy. I always love, we've talked about props a lot. I did feel they were maybe off base just a little, in that there was Utz pretzels on the shelf, or Utz.
Yes.
So, Hey, straight out of Wikipedia, because everything here is true. Red Owl, grocery store chain in the United States, headquartered in Hopkins, Minnesota. Oh, yeah. Founded in 1922 and owned and operated by a private investment firm affiliated with General Mills, which is also here in the Midwest, in Minneapolis. So there you go. Red Owl.
And also in that article, if you scroll down a little bit, it says Red Owl was actually started as a coal company in the 1920s.
What?
Which I had no idea.
Wow. First store in Rochester. That's interesting. We're learning together.
Yeah.
Bismarck, too, even. Hey,
I'm actually just editing the Wikipedia page as you're reading it.
Oh, so you're a liar. That's why you brought up Super Value. You're on the Wikipedia. Anyway, I just don't think any Red Owl in 2010 would have Utz. I have in all your time in the Midwest, have you ever seen Utz?
I've seen it. I don't know if I've seen it.
Everybody knows here you get Barrel of Fun.
Barrel of Fun?
Yeah, which are actually produced here in just like 45 minutes from
Utz
here.
Still exists.
It exists, not in this world.
What?
You're telling me you've bought a bag of Utz?
No, I'm not telling you that, but I mean, come on.
Have you seen a bag of Utz anywhere in the Twin Cities area ever? You gotta remember.
I'm fairly certain I have.
Okay. Certain. All right, we'll give it up. I'll stop arguing the wrong point.
But the Red Owl is a nice touch. I don't know if I'm guessing that was a Coen Brothers shout with the Serious Man, but
yeah,
it could just be a Midwest shout.
It's all of it.
Did you notice how the sign says on the outside says "Will return at 5:09 p.m."
Yeah, I saw that. I was wondering if you were going to look that up because I didn't. Is there anything that happened at 5:09 I need to know about?
Well, I'm certainly. I don't think so. I'm not going to Google 5:09 p.m.
No, I thought maybe you were going to make a reference to some other. I thought maybe you were going to make a reference to some other movie or something that I didn't catch.
Oh, that would have been super cool.
Yeah,
but I'm not.
You're not. So well, fuck that.
So we got Gloria Burgle, the show mom, our show mom of the season.
Yeah.
We have Grandpa Ennis taking pulls off of the liquor shelf.
Yeah, no, I think that's his store bottle, man. He reached a little back on the shelf for that one. He's stuck.
I think he's just pulling from the bottle at the end of the stack.
Yeah, I suppose. Although that's another one of those things. I don't think you can legally in Minnesota. You can't buy liquor at a grocery store.
I mean that's definitely true, but you can buy beer starting this summer, right?
Yeah.
Or no, that was the whole Sunday thing. You can buy beer and liquor on Sunday.
Yeah, that's a big thing still going on with Surdix. Look that up, Surdix and liquor in Minnesota. Anyway, you can't sell. It's a long story. I'm not going to get into on this show, but yeah, he's stocking up the shelves. The kids there, and why don't doors open for? I was going to call her Carrie Coon, but we could probably just start calling her by Gloria. I do think it's funny.
Maybe she's a ghost. She's been dead the whole time.
But she's a police officer whose name is Burgle. I don't know.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. It means forcible entry. And then I just kept thinking, okay, is that why the door doesn't open? She has to like force her way in all the time? I don't know.
Okay. That's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I'll go with it.
I'll give you that one, Bill.
5 points for Bill.
Her name's Burgle. She did have to bypass the automatic system.
Yeah, she needed somebody to break her in. Might just be her own kid.
She didn't have to break into Ennis's house. That was wide open.
Nope.
Oh, maybe we're catching a pattern.
I loved his line. Yeah, somebody always has to let her in. I love the fact that he says, if macaroni and cheese don't float your boat, might as well stay home. He's just a barrel of laughs. But I think we kind of we can. I think can we move straight ahead to the slow motion urine montage? Isn't that what happens next?
Like that.
I just wanted to say I liked it again. That's all. I love the guy who just gets a little pee on his thumb, rocking out to Moanin' by Lambert, Hendricks, and Ross. I just wanted to be caught.
That was a pretty there was a couple good double exposure type effects throughout this episode. I shouldn't say throughout. I should say there were just a couple. There was the one during the pee scene, and then the one with Maurice howling in the night after his Ennis burgle or whatever you want to call it.
After he killed Ennis?
Yes. It was after that.
I did find it very rewarding that right after you empty your bladder, you go in and fill up for a beer, because that's what happened next. Break the seal, get right back to drinking beer.
So we're at some random bar called Swans?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Nice logo work there, too.
I thought that was going to be like a Swans, like an actual Swans.
Oh, no. My big pickup off this, outside of just the hilariousness, I think, of Maurice's character just not being, I'm the moron thing was, did you catch what the sheet of paper said?
What?
It's underneath his thumb, and you see it later when he puts it back down. It says, "Dark yellow precipitate can be seen." meaning I watched. dark yellow, not just yellow. Dark yellow precipitate can be seen tested at...
At least dehydrated. So we're at this bar called Swans, and I don't know if this... so this might be stretching it a little bit. So the bar is called Swans, right?
Okay.
Way back earlier in the show when we're at the Emmett and Stella 25th anniversary party, there's a shot where Ray finally gets to go have 5 minutes with his brother in the study.
Yes.
And as he's going up, the camera turns upside down, and you see Ray going back to go meet his brother. And while the camera's upside down, in the foreground there is an ice sculpture that is a swan.
Oh, interesting.
So I thought it was interesting because the world is turning upside down and focusing on this swan as it's backing up a little bit. Or maybe it's pushing in. I don't quite remember. But there's a swan that's upside down in the picture frame, and I think it's slightly out of focus. Ray's kind of going off into the distance to meet his brother. Now we're at Swans, the bar, where this whole mix-up starts to begin a little bit.
I see what I went to the tape here, Charpie, in the replay booth.
Am I right? It's kind of swanish.
I think it's a duck, but I like your theory.
It has a duck head, but it has a long neck. I think it's a shitty swan sculpture.
Yeah, let's do it.
Huh?
Yeah, I like it, though. I like what you're doing.
So the world's going upside down, and at Swans, our world is starting to turn upside down. Boom. How about that?
Yeah.
Is that anything?
Well, I just thought it was another Fargo open air where a deal goes down in a bar.
Don't they all?
Yeah, but I mean the original Fargo. They meet at that bar in Fargo, and that's where a deal is made for a crime that goes wrong.
Sure.
I was going simple. Well, of all the times I finally go simple, I'm like, no, that's just where people make to get things done wrong. But yeah, it's.
I think the shitty swan sculpture was a foreshadowing of our world going upside down, starting in a place called Swans.
Yes, it's exactly that.
I need to eat something.
I'm positive. Where do we want to go? What do we want to do now? Let's. I think it's interesting that Maurice, when he gets the piece of paper.
Yeah.
I like the Lebowski. Speaking of Lebowski, throwback to the piece of paper with naughty things on it. The scene was it at Jackie Treehorn's? No, was his name Jackie Treehorn? Or am I just making stuff up? I'm on medicine right now. Where the dude runs over after he writes on the sheet of paper and he scribbles on it just to see what he'd written on the note, and it was just a big penis. To me, this is just a little hat tip back to the Lebowski, where with
sure.
a naughty thing on a piece of paper, things to do today, unless he really means do your lady from behind.
You never know.
Never know.
We'll find out.
Just got to go to 914 Maiden Lane.
914 Maiden Lane
in Eden Prairie. Yep, that's the one. Did you think it was interesting too that Maurice needs a shrink, and it's just on his phone as shrink?
Shrink. I wonder. Do you think that was mandated by the court?
Oh, that'd be interesting.
I don't think he'd be someone who'd reach out.
No, not as a burglar, I guess. But there's coming full circle when he tries to flick his little J out the window. It doesn't work out, just like it doesn't work out in the Lebowski. See, I'm chock full of Lebowski tonight.
Yeah,
and it's what causes him to lose that piece of paper. Have you ever made that mistake though? Not throwing a joint out the window bad, but when you're driving around and you roll the window down thinking everything's great, and then you realize that you've created a whirlwind in your car and shit just goes out the window, and you're like, oh damn it.
Yeah, of course I have.
God, I hate that. When every time that happens in a movie, I never say that can't happen because that's totally happened to me. Always happens.
It has definitely happened.
Yeah, hey, I'm just gonna leave these papers on the seat, and then I'm gonna roll down two windows simultaneously. And oh, that's a recipe
usually
for
it's
disaster.
just Taco Bell wrappers.
Yeah.
You remember that one time when we went to Hardee's and you bought everything on the Hardee's menu at 3:00 in the morning?
That wasn't Hardee's. It was Hardee's when we went there really late, but the time we bought everything on the menu was Taco Bell. What is this, true confessions of Bill and Charpie right now? Yes, the time we ordered all that food at Taco Bell, people, they literally asked Charpie and I to pull over and wait because they needed to make all the food and would bring it out. It took way longer than you think it should. Okay, back to real life here in Fargo. Talks Fargo. Stussy Lots Limited.
Clicks and buzzers.
I looked a lot at that office again after we talked, because this is where we meet VM Varga. And I thought a lot about it because I did look at that piece of art behind the wall and I couldn't tell if it was just like uber modern. And then I did realize, it does look like it is a parking lot, doesn't it?
It's just a parking lot.
Yeah.
And the rest of the stuff is all like,
awards.
Like awards and stuff.
Caricatures.
And magazine covers. Yeah, there's a caricature.
Yeah.
A couple of sculptures. He has like some Greek, like this is in his home study, but he has some like Greek busts, which I tried to find whom they were, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
All those Greek busts kind of look pretty much the same.
I was trying to figure out what that like almost monolith on his desk was, like broken marble.
Yeah, exactly.
But I love all the set dressing and all the things that happen in these types of TV shows while you're watching. It's fun. It's fun to look at that stuff and figure out how it looks. I also did notice though that the lamp on his desk is very similar to the lamp on the East Germany dude's desk.
Oh, interesting.
Wait, I have to come back. Did you think at all about framing and shot stuff too? Did you notice that in East Berlin, the photo of whoever it was, I don't know enough about history right now to talk smart about this. To talk smart, I just said that. But there's like a picture behind the officer with like curtains, like as if you should close them from time to time, over his camera right, over his left shoulder, but it's not centered on the wall. It's over to the right, okay? And then I can see your face, you're thinking. And then when you reverse shot, right, and you're looking towards the door past the microphone, that shot of the trees is also not centered on the wall. It's off to the left.
Like, it's on the left,
but it's strange because that means whoever that picture is on that wall is staring directly into those trees. Weird thing. I don't know why. Just thought of that now. I was going to mention it, but I never wrote it down when I was watching.
I think it just was, like
look good on camera.
It's proper like photo composition.
As happens every season. Noah, if you feel like talking, we're here for you. We'd love to chat. We learn though that basically this to me, this scene right now isn't completely telling. It's just a setup for something later, that we're going to basically turn your parking lot business into a money laundering operation, and you're kind of dumb for having let it happen. It's the somebody taking advantage of him versus him taking advantage of his brother. It's karma.
Yeah, I love that sort of that higher status, sort of like almost like fatherly way that VM Varga was talking to Emmett about how this isn't the time for the types of questions he's asking. Maybe when he borrowed the money or was given the money, that's when he should have been asking the types of questions that he had now. But he's not, and it's too late for that. So I wonder, like, how desperate Emmett really was, how desperate Emmett and Cy and the business really were to get that $1 million. With like no questions being asked whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. And what did they do to get there?
I don't think we probably won't go down that. I don't anticipate going down that storyline in this season or any season. But it is kind of interesting how VM Varga was just sort of like this sly fox. He's like, well, you should have asked those before. This was an investment, and we don't expect you to we don't expect that money back. We just expect money from now on.
Yeah, and he's just so matter of fact about it. Like, well, this is it. The same with the question I brought up in the hot dish. What country are you from? And he's like, America. Duh.
Was VM Varga's business called Narwhal, or was I hearing
Yes. Things? No, they said that. I had to back it up. It was Narwhal. And I just, all I think about now is Elf. Bye, buddy. Yeah. Hope you find your dad. Because I watch those kinds of things too. It's okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I just think that's just that was a whole lot of setup. I don't feel like we were peaked in any amazing things, but no. We end up, it's birthday time, and don't get too excited about the mac and cheese, and we're now at Ennis's place, which the boy gets this like carved wood gift from this cranky old dude. I'm skipping ahead, sorry. He says some pretty interesting things here, but to me, here's the thing I thought about. By the way, the angel food cake with strawberries and whipped cream, that's huge. Mm-hmm. to me in the Midwest. Did you have a lot of that growing up or not?
I didn't have a lot of it, but it definitely was one of my more favorite desserts because I'm not a big sweets guy. I do like strawberries and whipped cream, though. So it was like one of those desserts that wasn't like, it didn't have a lot of frosting. It didn't have a lot of like candy-like stuff. So it was probably, when that was served as a dessert, that was my jam. Probably my other go-to if I had to eat dessert. It sounds terrible. Would be pumpkin pie. So more on the savory side.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say, have you ever grilled angel food cake?
No.
You should try that. It's the shit.
I'll put that on my list right after the taco casserole.
Grill your cake slice and grill your strawberries, and you can have like a warm grilled dessert
cake
with some cool whipped cream on top. It's awesome.
It's interesting. I like that. I like the way that sounds.
Yeah, do it. People will be amazed.
Yeah. The thing that I liked here in this scene is that we get a kind of peek into a bunch of little things, like people as replacements. I made a note about this, and I'm going to have to work through it because sometimes I write things down really fast and I don't know what they mean. But people as replacements for all sorts of things. So the boy is like, is so-and-so going to be my other dad? Is he going to be like my dad? And she's like, no, he's just this other person. And then kind of like this guy who's also somebody I'm involved with, you know, like Ennis here. When grandpa died, he married grandma. And I keep thinking of, it's like this little, you don't know who's who. And it's also this like, not mistaken identity, but this, you're a stand-in for something else. And Ennis is eventually tonight going to be a stand-in for what was supposed to be Emmett. I don't know if that's what that scene means, but that's the part that struck me was just the what all I wrote literally was replacements: Dad, Ennis, Dad, and new dad. I guess that's what I thought.
That's pretty good to extrapolate that.
I take terrible notes while I'm watching because I don't like. I can't stop listening.
No, you take efficient notes is what you're taking.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, for a season that has that is supposed to have much fewer characters than past seasons, we are getting a lot of these sort of mentioned characters that we still kind of have to juggle and keep track of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the daughter,
especially in that family.
Yeah, well, we won't have to talk about Ennis too much anymore. Well, we might have to. You never know. Anyway, bridge game. Oh God, those chair pads they sat on, so Midwest. They were like, did you see that one lady's like just cushioned down on that like total crocheted custom pad? Go back and watch that, folks. It's a miracle, and it's totally Midwest. Those things are like handed down from generation to generation, but killer slow-mo shot entering.
Somehow even like the dishware, the china and everything is exactly the china. I don't know if China seems like too much of a fancy word, but like the dishware that's in like when they were, and I'm kind of going back a little bit to Ennis's house, but the cups they were drinking from, those are the same cups that I drank from as a kid.
Yeah.
The beigey with the brown lip. I mean, I'm sure that's the same for kind of everybody because there's probably just a few options at the time.
Right.
But yeah, so we're playing bridge. Ray and Nikki are apparently... I don't know what you would call him. What do you call a bridge player? Do you call him like?
I don't. Like I said, I got to learn more about bridge. I just know the dummy is the one person in the hand.
I feel like there has to be an awesome name for someone who plays bridge. But yeah, this is the first time I've really like a bridgeteer. Okay. A bridgealier.
The bridgeteer. Isn't that a Disney movie? Wait, that was the Rocketeer. Never mind, my bad.
A Bridgman.
Yeah, Bridgman. Ooh, Bridgman. Remember that? That was a brand from around here back in the day. That was a dairy company.
I do remember Bridgman.
Can I mention my...
Do you think that's where it came from? They were just a bunch of people milking cows and playing bridge, and they're like, you know what? We should make this a business. We're the Bridgemen.
Oh, wow. Just when I thought my stretch was too much for this episode. I just want to mention the fact that those guys they were playing against are basically wearing bowling shirts. I don't know what movie that could be referencing, but whatever.
They're at the Wildcat Regional Bridge Tournament. They actually do end up Ray and Nikki end up taking third place, which confused me because they kept saying they were the third runner-up, but later, I actually saw, the certificate, and it does say third place, so they did get third place.
But they said third runner-up.
But they say third runner-up, so they're confused. Their characters are confused. They're calling third place third runner-up, which third runner-up would actually be fourth place.
Right.
So they're just getting it wrong. So the idea is the same.
Right.
He was then right about comparing it to a bronze medal in the Olympics.
Yeah.
But he's just wrong about what it's called.
Yeah. Do we start talking about Maurice's series of unfortunate events after this? I think it would be a good thing to do.
Sure.
Like, you've lost a piece of paper with the address, a very specific piece of paper now, right? Now it goes into the UFA station, which, as far as I know, is a made-up brand. Are you Googling while we're talking? Is UFA a real brand?
That is not what I'm familiar with.
No, I think they just made it up. They had to have. Oh my God. It's a city in Russia. Is this about the Germans?
Oh God. Russia is for
UFA?
lovers.
Oh man. Okay, whatever.
What whatever? We should know.
This doesn't matter.
Because they do say Russia is for lovers.
Yeah, on his shirt. Fuck Virginia. It's about Russia. Sorry. No, but I mean, he goes into this gas station in Eden Valley, can't be that big of a town, right? And assaults somebody and then says, Stussy, and rips the page out of the phone book and leaves with it. Not his crowning, he is the moron.
Yeah, definitely.
He is a dull instrument. This is not the kind of thing you want to make precise slices with. But yeah, he does. So now he's got a piece of paper floating around on the side of the road somebody could find. He's now walked in, drove his car up to the front door, assaulted a guy, and taken a part of the phone book.
Yeah, and we're in 2010 now, so it's not like there's not cameras like in past seasons.
Well, not in Eden Valley. Well, I guess we'll find out. This will be interesting.
Yeah.
But so this is where we're going to get to the part, though. So we cut away, and he's like, he does this whole swimmy, swammy, slappy Samsonite, and he's figured it all out, right?
Right.
But I know somebody else has noticed this. I hope to God they have. And now that I'm clicking on it to play back again, I'm just like, what? So what did you see the minute this scene started? If you have this on video, go to 4316 and pause. Did you look at this, Charpie?
Are we talking about Ennis passed out watching TV?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I hope somebody else has talked about this. I mean, I read a few... I read a few things, but I didn't read anything about this. I mean, I read 2 articles quick the other day, but I'm like, holy shit, he's watching season 2.
He's watching season 2 of Fargo.
And I'm like, no way. And so I just let it play. I was like, my eyes are deceiving me. And so I just let it play a little more. And then, the camera, comes around to him. But when he finally goes to the fridge, they full-blown zoom in past the TV just in case they're like, hey, Bill, you dummy. And you could just see them laying there on top of each other, but he's on Channel 3, which to me is Season 3. And I'm just like, oh, shit. What is happening? Right?
Well, you remember last season when we got such boners over the number 3 all the time, even though we could never, relate it to anything?
Well, now it relates, because it's Season 3. Unless it's
season 3. There were 3 spotlights in that parking lot, remember? In the end of season 2, there were 3 spotlights from the UFO.
Yes. If he's watching on a VCR, he did have to turn it to Channel 3 to make it work.
Yeah. Maurice's car had 1 headlight out, and it had 4 main headlights, so he ended up having 3 headlights.
Oh.
Nikki Swango lives in apartment 301.
No.
I hate that shit.
I love it. It's great. There was also a really fun lens flare when I can't remember when Emmett left his house to go to the office to go meet with VM Varga and Cy.
When it goes down Orby
headlights that if you weren't paying attention, they look like two UFOs flying in the distance. That was fun.
Yeah, they did that a lot in season 2. That's exactly what I started thinking of.
So,
the apparitions.
So what we end up with here, though, is that we find out Ennis, who by my account is worried that gay marriage is not legal because that's not the way it is in the Bible from his dinner comments.
Great eye roll from Gloria.
Yes.
So there's a great relationship between her and her son there in that regard, because the son started laughing.
Right. But there's something more to this guy. There's something more to him that we don't know. But it turns out if you die, we'll learn it. Right?
I believe so.
And I was trying to figure it out, but what I thought was interesting, even before she unearths his stuff, she comes into the house and she grabs something off the desk. Did you see what she grabbed?
The Hugo Award?
Yeah.
Yes. So this is where Ennis gets really interesting. So obviously through Maurice's shenanigans, we're left with Ennis tied up in the kitchen, dead. It looked like his mouth was glued shut or something like that. Mouth and nose were glued shut, maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe he just had a heart attack or something. There's something messed up with his face. It looked like maybe.
Yeah, because it surely did not. It didn't freeze shut from the freezer. That's for sure.
Right, with the light on.
Yeah.
So Gloria comes in. They're going back to get the sculpture that Ennis made for his grandson.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So
for his step-grandson.
They're going back to the house. Step-grandson.
If we're going to be serious here.
They go back. Gloria finds the door open. She finds Ennis dead. She grabs a sculpture of some sort off a desk to protect herself with if somebody's still in the house. That sculpture happens to be what we believe, and a lot of other people believe, is the Hugo Award.
Yes.
The Hugo Award is given to science fiction writers.
Right.
So it's possible that, with Ennis kind of falling asleep watching season 2 of Fargo, it happened to be the UFO scene. So I'm sure it was just supposed to be like a sci-fi, even though it was actually a scene. It's supposed to be like a sci-fi movie, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's supposed to be something. Well, did you hear the sound effects that were going on? It was like pew pew.
Yeah.
I just thought it was fun that it was also they were like cheesy sound effects too.
Mm-hmm.
And from a different perspective.
So, according to Wikipedia, the Hugo Awards are a set of awards given annually for the best science fiction or fantasy works and achievements of the previous year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did you want to dive into that anymore?
You can go. How deep do you want to go? I only went back and looked at it because I was looking up the. Okay, so I saw on the rewatch, I did the whole science fiction thing. I was looking at the books, and then I was like, why does he have a rocket ship? That was literally my actual train of thought, was why is there a rocket ship in this guy?
There had to be something about that. And she's going over his desk and stuff.
I literally Googled rocket ship award, and hold on. Just so you know, if you do rocket ship award, you also don't come up with the Hugo Award right away. What was it that first came up? It was funny. It was like I Googled awards with rocket ship. So what you end up with is the number one, thanks Internet, was the Tech Rocket Ship Awards of 2016-17. And then there's a Rocket Ship Alien Awards and GoPro. And I'm like, well, this ain't getting me anywhere. So I didn't get it on my first try. Try as you might.
Nah, you got it.
I went to, you go to the images eventually.
This is where Ennis's character really kind of develops. It's unfortunately after he's dead, but Gloria's going over all of his stuff in his office. It looks like he has lots of letters of correspondence and stuff like that. There seems to be a lot of literature that like writing, I don't know, manuscripts or scripts of some sort, all kind of strewn about. There is stamps, we know that. So he's obviously communicating with somebody because there's a bunch of these letters. So maybe he is an award-winning science fiction writer, and he's still communicating with fans, possibly.
Or aliens. Nope.
So Gloria finds a trap door on the floor.
Dun dun dun.
And what do we see?
We find a little treasure trove under there that's all dusty. Doesn't look like it's been disturbed for a while, but she pulls out 2 books. And both are novels by Thaddeus Mobley. I didn't Google that. It's funny. I wrote it down and I didn't even Google it. Did you? Is Thaddeus Mobley a real person?
Thaddeus Mobley is an upcoming character in this show.
Oh.
That's right. Played by Thomas Mann.
Spoiler alert.
Oh. Well.
Okay.
That's what we're in this for.
It's Ted Mosbius Designs.
Really. That could be figured out pretty easily. for anybody that's doing a deep dive.
No, I know. I didn't deep dive. I wrote it down and then did zero research after typing. But it was the Dungeon Lurk and the Planet Y, even though it's WYH. WYH.
And I just kind of looked into that, like the name Y, if that's how you're supposed to say it. And,
isn't that an old spelling?
It must be.
Oh.
According to...
I just Googled it.
What? What did you find?
Actually, dude, it's what all the kids are saying. It stands for when you're high. Thanks, Urban Dictionary. I don't think that's what they meant.
According to astrology and numerology, here's a little something. It says, and this is according to the name. Okay. Y means, with a name number of 2, your ruling planet is the moon. You are feminine and sweet in your ways. You are also gentle and cultured. You also have a gentle and cultured emotional temperament, which explains Gloria quite well. Your moods may be fluctuating, but you are in control and do it with intuitive skills. You are ingenious by nature and benevolent in the expression of feelings. You are close to your dear family, mother, and family life. You are a night owl who probably needs more sleep from time to time as you exhaust yourself working hard. That kind of describes Gloria. She's working at night. She's going through the night after Ennis' death. She does seem like to have very controlled temperament.
But what is it? But what about why does he have it?
Well, he's some kind of sci-fi fan, sci-fi writer, something like that. We'll get introduced to Thaddeus later on and find out where that connection is. But the cover of the book, The Planet Y, right? That's what it's called.
Yeah, The Planet Y.
The cover of that book had a robot like hovering over a man, or like standing over a man laying on the ground. A person laying on the ground, and it was in this exact same or very similar position as a sculpture that he made for the boy. Yeah. I don't know if we know the boy's name yet, do we?
Oh, geez. No, I don't know. I haven't heard it yet. Or if I didn't type it, it's not real. But yeah, that was that was something I actually didn't catch until the second watch. Truly, the cover. I thought when I saw it the first time, I just thought she was saying, this carved thing, these books. Boy, you just don't know somebody. And then the second time I watched, I was like, oh, they're in a very similar position.
She still seemed like surprised by the books, though. So was he leading a life that she didn't know about?
I feel like that has to be true, because why would you pick up a prestigious award in someone's house to use as a weapon over any other item in that house? I mean, I guess maybe it was heavy. Maybe, that's my only thought, is that she doesn't know, because it's like this life maybe it's a life that he had before he married her mother. So that's my guess.
That's what I'm thinking too. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. We talked a fair amount about the what comes next here is that we end up back at it's so cute, those two in their tub, both texting away or doing some sort of social media. Is that what they were? Yeah, when we cut into that scene, right at Nikki's, isn't that the next part?
Yeah, that's right.
We cut to the scene and he's kind of lurking out there on her, which I still did like this scene a lot. That there's this tenderness to the whole thing, they've just ripped out some glory at the bridge match, and they've got candles going, and it's not like he's got a beer, he's drinking a little wine too, and they're just enjoying themselves. And bango, Maurice shows up, and there's all those great lines about which one, the guy in my house or but he's definitely on something, because he just can't get his shit together. Watching him try to light that cigarette over and over the whole time is just fantastic.
Right. So I can't tell if Nikki is playing Ray or not, because she obviously seems way out of his league. She's definitely quicker and smarter and wittier. Do you think that maybe she's playing her parole officer to benefit her for a while, or do you think this is legitimate, this simpatico?
I currently, based on one episode, I think it's simpatico. I think she'd vouch for him.
You do.
There was a lot of vouching earlier, but yeah, I do. I really think I think it's okay. I think there are moments where some people just fall for certain people, and I think he waits on her in a good way. You know, I think he dotes on her and he makes her feel the right way. And I'm guessing in the career of the world she's been in, he's probably shown her the most kindness, and that can generate a lot of like true feeling. And so I think that's how that goes. And I just think that, that whole scene where she stands up still
distracts both the guys in the room.
Yes. But my favorite thing, second watching, the first time I watched it, I must have been looking at
watch this
Mary Elizabeth's butt a little bit too much, but I did notice the second watch that, well, I was watching the gun at first going, just get the gun, but the second time you got to rewatch it and watch Maurice trying to grab the tiny hand towel from over the sink. Did you notice that or not?
No, I didn't.
He never looks away, and he just slowly reaches out his left hand, and with the tips of his fingers, he's just like, just trying to grab her,
just like pawing at a hand towel.
Well, it's like but it's like, to me. So if you look to the right, to the right of Ray, there's a towel just sitting right there, and then to the left of Maurice is this tiny towel, and both of them are just so magnetically glued to her that neither of them can get their shit together. And it's pretty epic. The going for the tiny towel thing is those are the little things I like sometimes, though, like that I don't notice till later.
Yeah, that was fun.
And she's even watching him grab the tiny towel. Now I just pushed play because and she's like, look at him.
He's just rewatching it over and over.
I am. It's just on a loop. It's terrible. No, it's just that he's looking away and Ray is still, and his head is tilted like he's just in a glamour shot, just fawning over her. But in true form, I just don't think Ray is cut out to be a winner.
Yeah, but you got to root for him. He is generally a pretty sweet dude, right? I mean, he's all about the staying. He really legitimately wants to go by the rules, even though he knows he's not seeing like one of his clients. I don't know. You call it a client?
Yeah. Your parolees?
Parolees.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing is wrong, but you can tell he feels a little bit bad about it, and he definitely doesn't want to stir things up. So he is a sweet guy. He's a little bit absent-minded. That's definitely going to get him into a lot of trouble, but I think he's going to see it through the season, and he's a good character to root for.
Yeah, I mean, you know he feels that way because we know what happens here. There's this whole scene of them counting, and speaking of a trail that Maurice leaves behind, his coat gets or his jacket or shirt gets caught on the stairway when he's leaving, which no doubt will leave some sort of trace evidence. But you talk about him actually kind of wanting to follow the rules. Like when she says, I gave a fake name and ID or whatever it is she says. And he's like, you can't do that. That's, it's one of those things. And even there, he's like trying to get her in the right direction, even though he just made his own deal to rob somebody.
And she being like as street smart as she is, that was a great thing. The whole like air conditioner thing was a pretty good idea because she also mentioned how she's put this request in to get this air conditioner fixed at least 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of a paper trail on her side.
Did you get the vibe that was actually possibly Ray's like leopard print robe? Did you notice it? Because if not, it fit him pretty well. And he also had like that alligator crocodile jacket, so maybe he's got a thing for prints, and his boots are like
he's got like snakeskin boots or something.
Yeah. I just thought, oh man, that thing will never fit him. And then I looked back at it and I was like, actually, it does kind of fit the guy. And she's wearing a different one. So why, I don't know. Just a thought. Just a thought. Maybe that's his. Although the arms are pretty short, so maybe not.
I did do a double take when I saw him put it on, but I didn't really think about it too much after that. I guess I probably assumed it was Nikki's.
Sure. Did you notice the photographs on the wall above her like living room credenza or whatever buffet kind of thing?
I didn't notice what they were. No.
All pictures of trees, but that's a pretty common thing in homes.
Yep.
But in an episode that starts with a picture of a tree, a framed photo of a tree.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. That's all.
Just saying.
Just saying.
Yeah, all in all, we're just, we're getting the chess pieces out on the table. We don't really know.
Trying to get all our crazy out.
Go yet. But all in all, it was an enjoyable episode. I mean, just being in this universe is fun for me. Nothing really groundbreaking. All pretty run-of-the-mill kind of story setup stuff. A lot of the same like tropes you see in other things. You got like the businessman with shady business dealings. You've got the underdog guy who's kind of dumb-witted, like first season's Lester, who means well but keeps getting himself into trouble, like Ray. You've got the kind of ultra dumb henchman, like Maurice. Kind of something similar to maybe not Wrench in Numbers, because they weren't quite so.
I loved Wrench in Numbers. That was good. So I think there you have it. I mean, I don't know if I'm ready to make any Who Dead Next comments just yet.
Right.
I think we got to wait for somebody else to be introduced to us.
Ennis is definitely dead. Maurice, do we know for sure he's dead?
Oh, God, yeah, he's dead. He's got to be dead.
Do you think so?
Did you see the amount of like shit on the ground after that fell on him? Oh,
I mean, he could be knocked out.
Okie dokie then. I think we've seen as much of Maurice LeFay as we're going to see. I mean, with a name like LeFay, he was probably Canadian in the first place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay. So that's just the deal.
That's the deal.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think, I feel like I want to start this whole, there's so many good lines. I don't know if we'll do it for sure, but we'll say it here and then we'll bail on it. I just want to do like quotes of the night, or, like quotes of an episode, just things that don't necessarily mean anything, but they're still good.
So I'm guessing you have a bunch of quotes written down.
I don't have a bunch. I just have ones. I just, like, when I listened back and like his moment in the bathtub, when he says, "My steely gaze striking fear into the hearts of the elderly." Like, that's his, like, it's an admission of two things, that they're doing it, and yet they know that they're not the normal people in that world either. Like, nowhere they go, they're normal, but my steely gaze striking fear into the hearts of the elderly. I liked it. But if I was gonna, give this a show title, our podcast, it would totally be, Dark Yellow Precipitate. That would be the show title if we had one. So I don't know. I think that's all I got.
Of show titles. This, did we even mention the show title? The Law of Vacant Places?
Oh, God, no. And that's a bridge thing. Did you look that up? I had to Google vacant. It looked complicated.
Yeah. We might have to have like a bridge episode
where we just talk about bridge.
God, can you imagine trying to listen to that?
We would lose every listener. We would lose all 10 of our listeners at once. The show would be over. But no, it's a bridge. It's a bridge thing. I don't know what it means yet, though. I couldn't get. How much did you read of it? Like,
oh my God, I glazed over like instantly.
I was just like, oh shit, what am I supposed to do with that? It's like,
yeah,
wait,
exactly.
You want me to understand? I feel like it's one of those like entries that you have to understand bridge to understand the law of vacant places.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand.
Joining a bridge league for research.
If it works out, maybe we could start an entire bridge podcast. That'd be a cool thing.
Yeah, that'd be a really cool thing.
Kids would dig that.
Maybe we can meet somewhere in the middle in South Dakota and maybe hit up a local tournament.
Oh, there's got to be one down there. Yeah. Oh, for sure. Sometimes when I do this show, I feel like I get more Midwest than ever just from watching the show. Just brings back all that stuff. Oh,
definitely.
So, well, I think we'll wrap it there. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. Thanks again to Fargo Brewing and their delicious Wood Chipper IPA for sponsoring this week's episode and this season, for that matter. Head to fargobrewing.com to find out more about them. They're a fantastic local brewery. They're spreading throughout the Midwest, but if you go there, you can also find how to buy some swag or check them out on their Facebook page.
Yeah.
You got anything else, Charpie?
And this week we'll have to figure something out. I will be flying to Tokyo the night the show airs, so we will have to figure out how to get that hot dish in the oven.
We'll talk about it. We'll get something going. And so thanks for hanging out with us, you guys. And we hope the Sunday thing worked out. Generally, I'm guessing we will, Matt. I just gave him your real name.
God.
Oh no. We probably will be recording earlier than we did this Sunday, right? Because that way we can get it out at a decent hour on Sunday. This is going to go up late Sunday night. But we'll try to do earlier Sunday recordings so that these will go up Sunday night sometime. Night meaning you could download it and still have it and rock it out before the previous episode airs. So that is the scoop. We hope that's working out. If not, feel free to check us out or talk to us anytime on Twitter at Fargo Talks Fargo or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fargo Talks Fargo, or send us an email. We'd love to hear from you at podcast@fargotalksfargo.com. I think that's it, Charpie. I guess, we should just let him go, eh?
Let's get out of here.
Okay, then. Well, yeah.
Okay.
I guess so.
Okay, bye now.